Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be making a Victorian style winter coat. So I'm going to just quickly show you the cookie. I've already outlined it. That's it. And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get started. Alright, so I'm going to start off by using this really pretty blue color to outline the sections of the coat that I want to be blue. This is going to be a blue, and what I picture it as is like a blue velvet and fur trimmed Victorian coat. That's what I have in my head, at least. So I'm going to start off by outlining in our blue color, and I used a mix of like sky blue, royal blue, a bit of purple, there might be some black in there, maybe a touch of white. It's just a bunch of different things, just working it out to try and get this one color. I think it probably took about 20 minutes or so to mix this one color, just because I was so particular about how I wanted it. So you can see I have outlined the top of the coat and arms, and I'm starting on the bottom of the skirt portion of the coat. I'm putting in these lines right here, and I'm actually going over it like 3 different times, so I have that height on the line. This is a stiffer type of icing, of royal icing, and I am putting that in there so that hopefully when I flood it will go around these lines and it will look like pleating on the skirt. And now I'm going up to the top of the coat, and I am putting some little squiggles in those in the center of them, so that you don't get your icing to sink or crack or anything like that. It should stay all nice and puffy. So now that I have done that, I'm going to let it crust for about 15-20 minutes. I don't want it to let it go too long. I want the flood and the outline to kind of mesh together, but not too much. So now that I've done that, I'm going to start filling in the top of the coat, and then I'm going to start filling in the arms of the coat. What I like to do is I like to go over that edge again, and then I'm going to start filling in closer to the center, and I like my icing to be as puffy as possible, have that nice height and everything, almost a 3-dimensional quality. And so that to me actually does that. This is one of my favorite tools to use. This is my scribe tool, and so I'm just making sure that all the edges are clean. It looks very seamless, and it's just a nice little cleanup. A good shake, always necessary, just to make sure everything kind of smooths out. Even after using the scribe tool, you can see little lines in there, and if you give it a good shake, a little shimmy, sometimes a little pat, it will actually smooth all that out. Okay, so my plan had been to actually do the arms next, but I'm not. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the skirt portion of the dress, like the bodice and the skirt portion of the dress right now. My concern with doing the arms next is actually that, I don't know, when you have these 2 pieces close together that you have to fill in with the icing, sometimes if you do the arms first, they can actually look like they're behind the skirt, and I want them to be in front of the skirt. I want to rely on the lines from the dress and the skirt portion to help me puff up the arms, if that makes any sense at all. Sometimes it can also, if you start with a smaller portion, it can actually get lost in this mass of, in this case, blue. So anything I can do to give it definition, real or imagined, I'm going to do. And so because of that, I've decided to go ahead and I'm going to fill in the skirt first, and I am filling it when I'm going around the little pleat lines and everything. I'm trying my best not to cross the pleat line. I want that to stay. I want you to see the pleating. I don't want it to get lost. So you just go up to the pleat line. I'm going to give it a shake again, try and get that smoothed out, and then after I do that, I'm going to grab my scribe tool again and then just make sure all the edges are filled in and that everything is right where I want it to be. So I'm going to stop right there and I'm going to let it crust for yet another 15 minutes. And then I'm going to come back and now I'm going to actually do the arms of the coat. Now, something bad is going to happen, not with this arm, but the next one. I'm going to make a mistake, so in just a few seconds, I'm going to actually show you how to fix a mistake, or at least how I fixed a mistake on this cookie. So this is where I make my mistake. You can't really tell too well because I'm trying to show you the entire cookie as I'm working on it. But if you can see, there are actually small little gaps on the left and the right hand side where the arms and the body don't touch each other. And what I did right here was on the right hand, my right hand side, the coat's left hand side, I actually filled in that gap. So now I have to get my, you can call it a boo-boo stick, you can call it a thingamajiggy, whatever you want to call it, but it has a little paddle end, and I'm going to now scrape all of that blue off. Now, if you catch it early, you sometimes can just take off the little piece that you did. Other times you will end up having to scrape that entire section, sometimes the entire cookie. I got lucky this time. I just was able to kind of move the icing. I'm going to kind of have to curve it around and everything on the body shape, but I was able to remove it entirely. My biggest concern in the end actually became the staining that the blue was going to leave behind on the cookie, because I didn't want that to be seen. I wanted you to see white cookie and realize that there was a gap there and not a big mess. And I had to be very, very careful of the cuff area. I'm going to do a white fur there, and so I didn't want it to get messed up. So if you are enjoying me, making this cookie and showing you how to fix problems, why don't you hit that subscribe button down below. Leave me a like, a comment if you have any questions or any other observations regarding the cookie. While I continue to try and fix the mess I made. And of course, I got a little bit on another part of the dress because, once you make one mistake, dozens will follow. So I'm going to now try and clean up the skirt. So I got that little bit off. Now I'm going to go back and I have to re-outline again. So I'm not even going to bother with putting this squiggle down the center. The other one, the other arm seemed to do really well. And this is just such a small area. I'm not even going to really bother. I'm just going to cross my fingers and hope it's all going to be fine. So we're now back to waiting yet another 15 minutes. And now that it's crusted, I can come back in and I'm going to fill that in now because it needs to be done. So once again, just start with the outline and then work towards the center. I'm making sure to use a lot of royal icing just to make sure it doesn't dimple or crack or do anything in the center that I don't want it to do. Because we've had enough mistakes and I don't want to make any more. So now just working with that scribe tool to work the edges out and make it smooth. So we are going to give that yet another 15 minutes after I finish cleaning up the edges, and then I'm going to use a really stiff white royal icing to make the fur portions of the coat. Okay, now that we've waited our 15 minutes, I've got my stiff, it is super stiff white royal icing, because you'll see why once I start filling this in here. I've got the two pieces that kind of come together, and I want you to see that there's a separation between them. If it's too thin, you'll see them combine and they will look like just one lump of fur in the center. Also, off to the side, I've made some royal icing transfers of some bows that I will use in just a second, because a little bow hole is supposed to hold the coat closed, and you'll see those soon. So right now, my hand has covered everything up. Yeah, you can't see much, but what I've done is I have just run the fur up the side of the coat, and I'm going to go around the neck, and then come down the other side. You have to keep turning and turning, because I want this fur going all a certain way. I don't want, it's so thick you can see the lines in there, and I want them to look right. Okay, so I've got that done, and it still has that separation right down the center, which is perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. And now I'm going to fill in the cuffs. I'm going to do that cuff, and now the other. And I mentioned before that I've made these bow icing, royal icing transfers, and I'm going to now go grab one of those. I made a couple of different colors. I made another blue in this color, and then I did a black. Sometimes I would see the black and I would do that, but before I do put those on, I forgot I need to put the buttons on the dress and these little tiny pockets just where the hip of the skirt starts on the coat. So I'm trying to put 4 buttons in, 3 full ones, and then one is going to be like a half 3/4 button that's supposed to just almost be concealed by the white of the fur. And now I made the 2 little pockets. They're just simple, like little flat pockets. I'm going to make sure that they're smooth, they're long, and they look like a pocket flap. They don't look just like this odd thing that's ended up on this coat. And this button right here that is supposed to be like a half or 3/4 button, it gave me fits. I could not make myself happy with this button no matter what. Now you see me grabbing the icing transfers, and I decided instead of going with the black, I'm going to go with a royal blue, keep that color coming. And I'm just going to put that right there at the top of the coat. And that is our finishing touch. It's the last thing that needed to be done. And here is the Victorian style winter coat that I have made. I really think it turned out really well. I'm very happy with it. So if you enjoyed this, hit the like button down below, maybe leave me a comment and subscribe. Bye!